Welcome to CBS Saturday Morning. I'm Michelle Miller with Jeff Glor and Dana Jacobson. And coming up this hour, it's a film earning raves for its portrayal of the deaf and also for the way it chose to cast it. We'll talk to the director of the new movie Coda about how using hearing impaired actors is helping to change Hollywood.
Plus, when did the 1990s truly begin? Author Chuck Klosterman says one rock album marked the turning point, not just in music, but in the culture as a whole. We'll find out which album he has singled out in his landmark book about the last years of the last century.
Oh, the 90s. And later, we'll take you to sunny Florida and a legendary restaurant. Columbia is the state's oldest dining establishment, now in its fifth generation of ownership. We're going to speak with a family still running Columbia and sample some of their great Cuban and Spanish and all that other cuisine in The Dish.
But we begin this half hour with a look at a new film that's generating Oscar buzz.
I can't stay with you for the rest of my life.
That is the character Ruby Rossi, played by Amelia Jones, in CODA, which stands for Child of Deaf Adults. Ruby's relied upon as her family's link to the hearing world and is torn between her loyalty to them and her dreams of pursuing her talent as a singer. The ensemble cast of CODA, made up of deaf and hearing actors, is nominated for Screen Actors Guild Award. Troy Kotsur, who plays Ruby's father, is up for Best Supporting Actor, the first deaf actor to earn an individual SAG nomination. But no matter what the envelopes read, for many, CODA has already won.
The experience of making the movie was so powerful that I truly felt like, oh, if nothing ever happened with the movie, that experience would be so complete. I'm gonna cry just talking about it.
For writer and director Sean Hayter, the movie Coda was a labor of love.
I really wanted it to feel just like a real lived-in family, and I think the specificity of deaf culture becomes much more universal because these characters are so relatable.
Those characters? Coda's Rossi family. Daughter Ruby is the only one who can hear.
What's rude is how noisy you guys are.
Her parents and older brother are all deaf.
Why was it so important to you to make certain that these were actors who were deaf and not actors playing someone who is deaf?
Well, I think for a long time, disability, non-disabled actors have played disabled and been rewarded for it. This is a lived experience, and it's an identity that is more than learning to sign. And as Marley says, deafness is not a costume that you can put on.
That would be Oscar winner Marlee Matlin, who plays Ruby's mom. The casting brought an authenticity Hayter says wouldn't have existed otherwise.
I heat up, I cool down.
Like knowing what the Rossi family might be going through while sitting in the audience when Ruby shows her true talent for singing.
I'm gonna take it the way that I found it. Woo! I got the music.
Hayter turned to Troy Kotsur, who plays Ruby's father, Frank, for direction. Kotsur has been deaf since birth.
He lives in a totally silent world and has no experience of music. And talking to him about what that's like to sit in a concert, and especially if your kid is performing, and be almost working as a detective looking at the audience to try to pick up clues of what's happening.
Right.
I will go where you lead, always there.
Especially when it all goes silent.
And you have 2 minutes of getting to live in that deaf experience, which I think is very uncomfortable for a hearing audience. I feel people in the theater start to squirm a little bit because it's intense, and yet that is their lived everyday reality. And so I felt like it was important to get that visceral experience of feeling what it's like to live that way.
Throughout the film, Coda takes its hearing audience inside the deaf experience, which is nothing new for Kotzer, a longtime actor at the National Theater for the Deaf and Deaf West Theater. Known for his quick improvisational signing, Coda was a chance to show off.
That's from him, not me.
What drew you to the movie most?
When I read the script, I was ready for the dirty sign language. I was thrilled to have been given that opportunity. I said, oh yeah, people need to see that. They need to see what ASL looks like to have those dirty signs on screen.
We spoke with Kotzer through an interpreter, Justin Maurer. Kotzer says American Sign Language opened the world to him, that ASL saved his life. But it was a movie at age 8 that changed it.
It's them. Blast them.
Star Wars.
So imagine sitting in the theater, not being able to hear anything.
Thank you.
But the visuals of this film were amazing. I saw the lights shooting back and forth from their guns, the battleships. I went back to the theater and saw it 28 times. And that was the first film that inspired me. I was fascinated by the fantasy and all of the characters, and that really sparked my interest into film and led me here to this day.
It's a journey that included acting out childhood cartoons on the bus ride to and from the Phoenix Day School for the Deaf.
And when I would come home, I would watch Tom and Jerry. Because there wasn't any dialogue. There was just action and visual, so I could enjoy it. So the next day, sitting on the bus, all the deaf kids would look at me, and we would do theater on board. So I would stand in the aisle and tell the story from Tom and Jerry, and all of the kids were looking at me doing Tom and Jerry and the fight scenes and just loved it. And they lit up, and I felt like I really enjoyed seeing their eyes light up.
Kotzer went on to study theater, TV, and film at Gallaudet University. He called the theater a friendly zone for deaf actors. It's where he began his professional career. TV credits would follow and now include his initial cinematic inspiration, playing a Tusken Raider in the spin-off from the Star Wars franchise, The Mandalorian.
Oh, I was thrilled. Since the age of 8, my dream was to be involved. They had so many aliens, and they spoke all these different languages. So where was sign language? And so as a Tusken Raider, it was perfect to create that sign language for the desert.
To prepare for salty but family-loving fishermen Frank Rossi and Coda, Kotzer spent a few weeks in Gloucester, Massachusetts, the tight-knit coastal town where the movie takes place, where 3 a.m. wake-ups to get on the water were followed by 8 a.m. nightcaps at the local bar.
And you went with them.
I
heard you hung out.
I studied them. I socialized with them. I analyzed their behavior and their environment.
And it was plain to see.
But Kotzer also relied on his own lived experience.
With my arms open wide, I threw away my pride.
When Frank tried to understand his daughter's passion for singing, Kotzer knew just what to do, thanks to his own teenage daughter, Coda herself.
My daughter became addicted and just immersed into this world of practicing the piano every morning, sometimes all day long. And I still couldn't hear the piano, but I would walk through the room and I would touch the wood on the piano to feel its vibrations.
No looking back for us.
And it was a similar idea of feeling Ruby's voice in that scene.
No signs or words needed to convey a father's love.
I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down.
And while Coda may be a story about family and letting go, the movie was also a lesson in inclusion.
A lot of people feel connected to the story of Coda because of the family experience. And so when you see inside of the deaf world, you might be able to mirror the deaf experience to your own experience. And the only difference is which language you communicate in. It's the same way of thinking, the same struggles in life, the same humor, and it's just a different language, period. And that's why we describe ASL like a foreign language. We're foreigners, we just happen to be in America.
And I cannot tell you, Daniel Durant, by the way, is the third deaf actor that is in this movie. The moment I saw it, I absolutely loved it. And the performance by Troy Kotsur, even when you don't read some of the subtitles, you know what he is saying. Our thanks to the Fountain Theater, which gave us the accessibility that day. And speaking of accessibility, Sean and Troy both talked about this. That's what this is about. It's accessibility. If you're in a wheelchair and there's no ramp and you don't see that, you don't know you can do that. If you are deaf and you don't see actors like this portraying various roles, you don't know that you necessarily can do that.
This movie is fantastic. It's funny.
Had you in tears?
It did have me in tears. Yeah. I also don't slide it into any category. It's just a good story and a really good movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. He blubbered on the plane watching it.
I did.
But I will say, watching your piece, I was teary-eyed. I don't even have to see it to know the emotion behind it.
And that's part of it.
People,
yeah, and that's part of it. As Sean said, she just wanted this family to be someone you could relate to, and we can.
Yeah. And the creative signing.
Yeah.
It gets really good.
Good job, Troy.